Removal of the agitation assembly is lifting off of the agitator. This is the only part that is removed from the forward agitator assembly. You'll begin by disconnecting the feed tube from the pump. Turning clockwise and lifting. This will allow the feed tube to disengage from the locks and be removed. The pump is removed by turning slightly clockwise and pulling forward, making certain that both the pump shaft and the pump seal are also removed. For removal of the dispensing door, you'll begin by removing the thumb screws and sliding the door out of place. Next, you'll remove the beater assembly. Please use 2 hands when removing. It is not heavy, just more awkward than you expect, and you don't want to bang off the cylinder wall. For the feed tube, the white plastic connector disassembles from the metal feed tube. You will brush clean through the tube and remove the O-rings using the O-ring removal tool. For the pump, you'll remove the pump shaft from the back. On the pump shaft are 2 black rings. These black rings are actually ceramic. This is used to deal with friction. It withstands friction better than the steel. Please inspect to make sure there are no signs of cracking or damage. The pump seal is removed. The white feed tube has a notch that lines up with the retaining peg. It is spring-loaded. Please be careful when you remove it. There is 1 O-ring on the tube. Inside is a spring and a pressure cap. The holes on the pickup tube are different sizes to allow for different overrun. There are 2 options available. The variable size hole, which allows for an adjustable overrun by selecting clockwise or counterclockwise, or if a franchise chooses a set overrun, all holes can be drilled to the same size so that no matter where the selector is placed, you'll get a consistent product. To open the pump, you'll remove the 2 metal thumb screws, and inside are 2 gears and an O-ring. You'll remove the O-ring for cleaning and the gears. We'll begin with showing the beater. In the middle of the beater is the idler. It's removed by pulling it out through the center of the beater and the center of the plastic end pusher. The next piece is your plastic end pusher. You'll notice that it is also notched with the beater to ensure that it can only be installed one way. Each of the scraper blades have indentations on their back side to allow them to hook beneath the securing clamps on the beater body. To remove, take a grip on the blade and twist away from the hooks. Each blade is identical, so it will not matter which blade is placed where, so long as all three are installed. Finally, on the back side of the beater is your beater seal. At every cleaning, the beater seal and the blades should be inspected for signs of wear or damage. If the beater seal shows excessive wear or any signs of tear or damage, it should be replaced. The scraper blades should be angled on one side and flat on the other. If you see any signs of wear going back the other direction, which leaves the knife edge effect, the scraper should be replaced. Also, the rubber bumpers on top of the blade should be completely round and domed over. If they appear to be flat or pushed off to the sides, the scraper should again be replaced. When cleaning the dispensing door, you'll begin by removing the O-ring on the end of the securing pin. Then pull out the securing pin. You'll pull down on the handle, lift as high as you can, turn slightly to the side, and lift again. This will help you remove the control piston. On the control piston are 2 more O-rings. They will also need to be removed for cleaning. Finally, on the back side of the door is 1 large O-ring. It will also need to be removed for cleaning. When cleaning the dispensing door, you will want to brush out any and all holes. You will want to remove, clean behind, reinstall, and lube the exposed portion of any O-ring. For reassembly, you'll want to use your Carpilube lubricant for your O-rings. And I also suggest having a rag or paper towel, something to help you get a better grip on the parts. For the metal feed tube, there's the feed tube itself, 3 O-rings, and connector cap. You'll begin by installing the O-rings. And then lubricating the O-rings. With the O-rings lubricated, you'll place the connector cap back on the end of the pickup tube. To begin, we'll place the gears back into the pump. And then the O-ring. It is not necessary to lube the O-ring before putting it in place. You'll need only to lube the exposed portion. You'll then slide the front half of the pump on. And tighten down your thumb screws. This is where we suggest a rag or a paper towel be used to help ensure a better grip. With lubricant on your hands, the screws can feel tight, but your hand slides over them. This will allow the thumb screws to loosen up and your product will stop blowing. You have one O-ring for the pickup tube. We slide it back in place and again lube the exposed portion. When putting the pickup tube back in place, we'll turn the pump upside down, put the pressure cap in flat side first, then the spring, and finally the pickup tube, making certain that it locks in place and is then turned to your desired overrun setting. The pump seal is lubricated on all exposed surfaces. Slide into place, and then your pump shaft is the last piece installed. To reassemble the beater, we'll first line up the notch in the end pusher with the notch on the beater body and slide it into place. We'll then slide the idler through the middle, making certain that it lines up with the hole in the rear. It should spin freely. To connect the scraper blades, we'll start the indention beneath the hooks and twist down. The only part on the beater body that gets lubrication is the beater seal, and it should be done only on the internal surfaces. There is no need to run lubrication in the outer trough. Once lubricated, you'll slide it on to the back of the beater. And that's the beater reassembled. When reassembling, we'll slide the O-rings back into place. Lubricating their exposed portion. Then using your finger as a guide, start the piston back into place and return it to the door. Reinstall your handle, making sure that the hex-headed screw on the bottom of the handle is placed in downward. Reinstall the retaining clip and the retaining clip O-ring. Finally, we'll reinstall the sealing O-ring on the back of the dispensing door, and then lube its exposed portion. And the door is now reassembled. We'll begin by reinstalling the mix pump. To do so, we'll start the pump in to the back, turn until we feel it drop far enough back that the hook on the back side of the pump is able to line up and engage to its retaining lock. We'll connect the feed tube by starting it into its slot and then push down as you turn back toward the pump until it drops into the locks. You'll push it past the retaining stud on the pump, turn slightly, and pull back to lock the feed tube in place. To begin reassembly, we'll first reinstall the beater. Again, using two hands, we will slide the beater back into the cylinder and turn until we feel the beater drop completely into its slot. When these white wings are inside the cylinder, that is as far back as the beater goes. We'll reinstall the dispensing door, pushing it back into place and reinstalling the thumb screws. It is again advised in this instance to use a rag or a paper towel to help you get a better grip, to ensure that the thumb screws are tightened securely back into place. And the mix agitator slides back over its agitation shaft until the metal can be seen clearly through the top. When sanitizing the machine, sanitizer should be pushed over every surface in the unit. But when filling with mix should never be filled above the line of the selector handle on the bottom of your white plastic pickup tube. Included with every unit is a service kit that gives you brushes for cleaning, lubricant, and a copy of all of your O-rings and seals. Should anything be damaged, you have a replacement. Also included is an O-ring removal tool. You have the stop button. To activate stop, you'll push and hold for 2 seconds. You have the start button. Just press and release. The low mix indicator light. The center button is agitation. By pushing and holding for 3 seconds, you can also lock your keypad. The light begins to flash. Your keypad is now locked. This allows you to clean it without changing function. It also allows you to lock the pad so that no one can stop or interfere with your machine operation. To unlock, you'll push for 3 additional seconds. Then you have the flame button. This is used to manually start a heat mode. You do that by pressing and holding for 5 seconds. It also shows a plus sign. This is because it's used to add during the adjustments to your menu. You have the reset button, which is also used for storage. By pressing the button and releasing, you can activate storage mode. You can use it to reset alarms, and the minus button also is used for decreasing increments during the adjustments in your programming. To make any changes to time and date, you will need to enter your manager's menu. This is accomplished by placing the machine in stop until the red stop button is illuminated, and then pushing both your stop and reset at the same time. You should see the words Manager Menu immediately. If you do not, you missed. When you release, you'll see the word Hours, and it'll give you a number. This is a 24-hour clock. That is your only choices. They can be adjusted using the plus and minus buttons. Until the correct hour is chosen. Next is minutes. Again, use the plus and minus until the correct minute is set. Next is your day of week, the day of the month of the year, and the year. Your next choice will be language. E and G is for English. Next is your start production time. By choosing a number, you will choose an hour at which the machine automatically starts. You may also choose auto. This will cause the unit to automatically start after a heat cycle if your machine features the heat cycle capability. Or no, and this will set the machine automatically to storage after any heat cycle, and the user will have to manually start the machine. The next is your start pasto storage. This again can be chosen with an hour or no. This will tell it if it is a heat cycle machine when to start its heat cycle. If the unit does not feature the heat cycle, you can choose at what hour it will automatically go to storage. By choosing no, the unit will not automatically go to storage or to heat cycle. Your next choice is level beep enable. This is a beeping sound that occurs when the mix level is too low. If you choose, you can set it to no, and no beeping sound will be made. And finally, you're back to hours. To exit this manager menu, you can either touch nothing for 30 seconds or press your green start button. A table updated message shows that any changes have been saved. The die is here, and you just place your hand in front of it when drawing product to get the machine to activate.